Ash Ketchum, the Pokemon Master. Well, I guess not by his definition yet.
I want to be friends with all of the Pokemon in the world. That's what it means to be a Pokemon Master.
Is the main protagonist of the Yu-Gi-Oh franchise. Wait, I got my script wrong. Of the Pokemon franchise.
Bruh.
Due to him having the protagonist energy, Ash was blessed with many Pokemon that are exclusive to just him. That means in the Pokemon world, as far as we know, only this dude right here has these Pokemon. And you know what? He actually deserves them. In total, Ash has currently officially owned a total of 98 different Pokemon species, 102 if you count Larvitar and Solgaleo. If you know, you know. And of these, a few of them are exclusive to just him. He might also be the only trainer in the world with 30 Tauros, but that's a video for another day.
No.
The first and arguably most noteworthy Ash exclusive Pokemon would have to be himself when he was transformed into Pikachu by Lily in the original series. No, not this Lily, but this one. No, not this one either, but this one. Ash Ketchum would go on to be the strongest Pokemon in the world, defeating all those who opposed it. Obviously, the first time he got an exclusive Pokemon, they made a much bigger deal about it, and they named it after Ash himself. In the Kalos region, the Pokemon that decided to make Ash its trainer was Froakie. This was his first partner Pokemon from the Kalos region, and can I just say how much I dislike the term first partner Pokemon? Like, I know I'm an old head, but I'm always gonna be stuck in my ways of calling them starter Pokemon. Sorry, not sorry. Anyways, back to Froakie. Ash and Froakie would both travel together throughout the Kalos region, participating in battle after battle, and truly honing not only their battle skills, but also their battle bond. This battle bond would grow and grow, and one day when Froakie made its final evolution to Greninja, something weird happened. I'm not talking about spaghetti falling out of your pocket. The two of them were in total sync and seemed to be working as one. In this stage, Ash could control Greninja's movements, but would also feel the damage that Greninja took at the state. Bonnie was the one who came up with the term Ash Greninja.
I wonder if we'll see Ash Greninja today.
What's an Ash Greninja?
I've never heard of that.
That's the name I made up for when Greninjas changed.
And for the rest of the series up until then, when you heard the Ash Greninja music, you knew there was going to be an epic battle sequence coming up. And for the most part, you knew they were going to win too. Well, except for when it mattered the most. The Pokemon anime knew that this form was too powerful and they couldn't let Ash have it forever, so instead they had him decide to start a side hustle of cleaning up the roots left by Zygarde in the Kalos region, so that he wouldn't have access to Greninja whenever he wanted. This Ash form was so great that people still talk about it to this day, and it's one of the most popular Pokemon characters ever. So popular in fact that it was even brought into the Pokemon games, debuting in Pokemon Sun and Moon with its ability being so good it was considered one of the best Pokemon in competitive singles. The ability was so good in fact that in Scarlet and Violet the abilities got super nerfed and it's a shell of its former self. On to the next exclusive Pokemon that made it into the Pokemon games themselves, it's Lycanroc. So at the start of Pokemon Sun and Moon and Generation 7 as a whole, Rockruff could evolve into one of potentially two Lycanroc forms. We had Midnight and Midday forms. Ash had a rival in the Alola region with one of each of these forms, with Gladion of course having his Midnight form and Olivia having a Midday form. So when he originally got his Rockruff, it was such a toss-up as to which form it would evolve into. But much to everyone's surprise, it evolved into neither, and instead debuted a new form, a Dusk form. It had really fun rivalries with both of its counterparts, and was able to eventually surpass both of them. It was able to defeat Olivia's Lycanroc while it was still a Rockruff, and of course, infamously it would go on to defeat Gladion's Lycanroc in the finals of the Manalo Conference, and it even did it with Counter, which was Gladion's unique move. The only way to get Lycanroc in this form is by having its ability be own tempo, which makes sense as it wouldn't get confused by moves like Outrage, which looks like it happened when its fur gets dirtier and dirtier. It's not unheard of these exclusive Pokemon to hold such power, and it makes sense since they are basically the only one of their kind to appear in the anime. Some even say that Lycanroc is Ash's ace throughout the Alola region, and I don't think they'd be wrong. Just don't let Rowlet know. In the same series, Ash was able to get a mythical Pokemon that he's the only known trainer of. No, I'm not talking about Nebby. No, I'm not talking about Naganado either. I'm of course talking about Rotom Dex. Just kidding, it's obviously Melmetal. Melmetal was a very late addition to his roster as it became his 6th and final member of the Alola team. What makes Melmetal so unique is that of course it's a Pokemon Go exclusive, and it also has a very unique evolution method. It was so unique and bizarre that it only ended up evolving right before Ash's final battle in the Manalo Conference. It literally evolved mid-tournament to end the series. Since then, we haven't seen any of its other species in the series, and I don't think we ever will. I think Melmetal through and through will be a Pokemon that will only be associated with Ash Ketchum, at least in the anime. It wasn't a very powerful Pokemon battle-wise, but it did try its best, and sometimes that's all you can ask for. At least they didn't totally forget about it completely, as they made an unused G-Max form for it in the Sword and Shield games. It was one of the few non-Kanto and non-Galar Pokemon to get one, so they made it kinda unique. Up next we have the most recent Pokemon that Ash captured. Can you name it? I'll give you 5 seconds. If you guessed Dracovish, you're wrong. Okay, I'm just trying to gaslight you here, you're obviously right. Now this Pokemon was the last Pokemon that Ash captured at his time as the main protagonist, and they did us many wonders by having him catch one. For one, it's a unique fossil Pokemon from long ago that Ash is officially known to have. But on top of that, it was shown to have some sort of secret draconic powers unique to it. The powers were first awakened in the final battle against Leon. In this battle, Dracovish was pitted against Leon's Dragapult. It took a few blows from Dragon Darts and suddenly it awakened an ability that was able to hold onto Dragapult and do massive damage with Ice Fang. While this Pokemon never really slept with anyone's team in particular, it did do a fantastic job of always applying pressure and usually knocking out at least one heavy hitter before going down. It was the ideal Pokemon for Ash to gain advantage or trade his Dracovish for a Pokemon that was really hard to defeat otherwise. Going back to his draconic powers, did we ever get them further explained?
Nope.
Were they implemented into the game?
Nope.
Is it okay to be watching this video but not subscribed?
Nope.
Okay, well, if you don't want to, you don't have to, but I think you should be. Dracovish was also hyped to be on Ash's team because of course it was so strong in the Pokemon games. It was genuinely one of the strongest Pokemon to be used in the Sword and Shield games, and was one of my personal favorites to use for that reason. Finally, and I know I'm cheating, but the last Pokemon that belongs to Ash that's technically an exclusive would have to be Pikachu. Now I say it's an exclusive due to realistically how powerful it is. Like seriously, how many other Pikachu in the world do you think that could go toe to toe with legendary Pokemon, or even defeat the undefeated champion of the world's Pokemon? Well, by the fact that it was undefeated until Pikachu took it down, I don't think anyone can say that. It truly is in a league of its own, and it's basically a legendary Pokemon. Ash's Pikachu also had something very unique, that was its G-Max factor. Well, Ash never really took advantage of this because, well, he didn't need to. He had a Pokemon that was stronger in its base form than in its Gigantamax form. On top of having its own G-Max form, it even has its own exclusive Z move, 10 million volt Thunderbolt. The only other base Pokemon that can say that is Eevee, and well, Eevee was basically its rival to Pikachu in terms of marketing. Z-move was like a win button like no other. Like a lot of other Pokemon on this list, Pikachu has also been memorialized in the Pokemon games themselves. This happened in the Sword and Shield games, where Ash's Pikachu from each generation that had appeared in the anime was shown off in the games, wearing Ash's respective hat of that series. Now this Pikachu didn't have anything special, but it was shown to be such a cool Pokemon that the anime staff just had to bring it into the games. Now I'm being honest, and Pikachu isn't my favorite Pokemon in the anime, I'm not gonna lie, but I'm also gonna say that it's one of the strongest Pokemon that we've ever seen thus far. I always chuckle seeing the Masters 8 lineup with all of their fully evolved ace Pokemon, and then we have Pikachu. Ash didn't have that many exclusives for protagonists, but the ones that he did have were all truly amazing in their own respective ways. And it's not like other trainers get the glory of bragging rights to say that they had a Pokemon of this caliber because no other trainers in the anime have been shown to have such exclusive Pokemon. While yes, some may have legendaries, some may have mythicals, none of them can say that they have Mr. Fish himself.
Yeah, I know we'll get along really well.